Welcome to the show, guys. Hey there, business owners, directors, and marketeers. In today's show, I'm meeting Jeb Banner, co-founder of Boardable, and I'm Lucas, your host, as always. I want to tell you guys a little bit about Jeb before we get started. So Jeb is CEO and co-founder of Boardable, which is a board management software company that serves nonprofits around the world. So very interesting cause that they're following up there. So he was previously the CEO of SmallBox, a creative agency he co-founded in 2006. So he has been around the block a bit. So Jeb is also the co-founder of Musical Family Tree, which is a nonprofit dedicated to spreading Indiana music, as well as he was the co-founder and past chair of Speakeasy, an entrepreneurial co-working nonprofit located in Indianapolis. So doing a lot for the local community there. So Jeb lives in the north side of Indianapolis, you might have guessed by now, with his wife Jenny and 3 lovely daughters. And in his spare time, he collects records, records music, and cooks as much as possible. So sounds like a very, very, very nice guy to have around. So Jeb, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lucas. It's great to be here.
Cool. So tell us about Boardable. What is it all about?
Boardable is board management software for nonprofits, and it came out of sort of 2 different sets of experience. One was a customer of my previous company, United Way of Central Indiana, who asked for a board portal for their board. And it was also based on my experience starting and serving as a chair on a couple of nonprofits that you mentioned earlier, and using email to manage all the back and forth of that board experience. So a lot of documents, even voting, it just creates a mess. And we found that by building Boardable, we could centralize all that. We could create a lot of efficiencies, integrate with existing tools and systems. And it really scratched the itch that we had, and we started offering it out to other nonprofits back in late 16, early 17. And then throughout the course of 2017, I began to see that it was a full-time gig, and I left my other job and went full-time in 2018, and we've been growing quickly since then.
Very cool. So it's specifically made for nonprofits. Could you describe what the typical user would be looking like? Is it a specific size of nonprofit, or a specific vertical even, or maybe somebody that works in marketing? And like, who would be the typical user?
Sure. There's always an administrator, generally of the board at a nonprofit. So this is someone that works with the CEO or executive director, as well as the board. And so they're creating the board book or board packet, which is all the documents the board needs to review. So they can do that in our agenda builder in Boardable. Then they're sending that out to the board members, who then have access to the platform via the web and apps to prepare for the board meeting, reading all the documents. They can put notes into the agenda. Then as they go to the meeting, you then log attendance. You can have dialogue back and forth. You can do voting as well, digital voting, and you can take minutes, and then those minutes then are published, and so this all creates an archive of the meeting going forward. So you have a historical record that's organized in Boardable, and then you also organize it around committees as well. So we're very much meeting and committee focused versus software like Basecamp that's very project focused.
Gotcha.
Or obviously email, which is just more conversation focused. So we integrate with a lot of things like email, calendars, Dropbox, Google Drive, but really want to keep everything in one place so that as board members roll off the board, their content remains in Boardable, and new board members can get up to speed very quickly, and the organization has an archive for auditing purposes, historical reasons, and just to make sure that you have continuity.
Very, very interesting. I really like this very specific use case. How would somebody that works in a nonprofit in the board and maybe has difficult meetings or difficult admin work around the board meetings, how would they find you? What would be a typical user journey, or the way somebody would find Boardable and get started?
Yeah, I think there's probably 2 main journeys. The first one, which is, of course, the least expensive for us, is a referral. Mm-hmm. So boards are all interconnected. A lot of board members serve on multiple boards, and so they go and they take Boardable from one board to another. So we track that on our side, and we encourage it as much as we can. We need to encourage it more. And then, of course, there's more the word of mouth of just the conversation between nonprofit CEOs and leaders saying, hey, this is what we find working ranking for our board. So that's always very desirable, and we encourage that. The second is we do quite a bit of paid marketing, a lot of content marketing, all through the funnel. So top of funnel, we're doing ebooks, we're doing webinars, blogs, getting down deeper into the funnel. We're doing demos. We're doing more direct interaction. We are a product-led company, so that means that we're very much focused on getting people into the product experience as soon as possible. We offer a 14-day trial, and so they can begin to bring in their board members. Those board members can directly experience Boardable, download the app. So a lot of our focus is like removing friction once they get to the product and make sure that they see value in the product right away. Time to value being real short.
Very, very interesting. A small follow-up question, just out of pure curiosity. How often would the typical board meet? So if you have a 14-day trial, can they bring it to the first meeting that they have?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's not uncommon for us to extend a trial to give a board, a nonprofit, more time. So again, if you think about us nurturing those relationships, we're doing Google Ads, Capterra, Facebook, Twitter to get them into the funnel, educating them on what Boardable is through different experiences and content. And then when they feel like they're ready, often they're doing a search when they're ready for board software, and then they're going. So you know how this is. There's about sometimes 20 different touch points that a customer journey might take before they become a customer. And so, when they feel like they're ready to use it, it's usually because they have a board meeting coming up. Yep. But if they don't, we're very flexible on the trial because we recognize, boards sometimes meet quarterly, sometimes they meet, bi-monthly or monthly. And so we want to make sure they have time to test it out. Sometimes they just do a test meeting or use it with a committee, and then they get a feel for it and they're ready to convert.
Very cool. Yeah, that's why my question was there, because I know the testing period is usually very crucial, and I thought in your case it's a very specific use case. Very cool. So what role would you say does the website play in that system that you were describing there, from people coming from Capterra, coming through Google Ads? How important is the website? What role does it really play?
I mean, it is our front door. It's our lobby. It is the way that they learn about the product. They get educated. They learn about who we are, our mission to serve nonprofit organizations. They get to sort of taste test, what's under the hood a little bit with videos and different content. We do a lot of landing pages from different lead channels. So for Capterra, we have a landing page, G2 Crowd landing page, different AdWords, et cetera. So we think a lot about how can we build out a pretty specific experience based upon who the lead is and what source they're coming from. So we do some chatting on the website. We have a fresh chat that pops up there. We do that also in the product. We're switching over to Intercom right now for that. So we try to engage them. It's this interesting tension between trying to be human and accessible and letting the product do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Makes a lot of sense.
And the website. And the website, of course.
Sure. I'm curious, you mentioned the chat that you implemented there, one on the product specific side, so I would assume to answer a lot of customer service related types of questions, but also one on the website. Did you see, because we had a lot of conversations with founders around that, did you see an uplift when putting in the chat? Did that positively contribute to the final conversions?
Well, we've had that in since day one, so it's a little hard to A/B
Gotcha.
test
Gotcha.
when you've had it. I think it'll be interesting to see with Intercom how that does versus Fresh Chat in the product. It's going to be more robust, a little bit more AI going on, I think, with being able to sort of begin engaging with the user, because that's very important for us during the trial, that we are able to address any concerns, answer questions, and kind of remove friction.
Got it. What metrics would you care about on the website? Because you obviously tons of things you could measure. What is important for you?
We top level metric around overall traffic, and then by channel, and so source and medium. Looking very closely at organic, which a lot of our content plays into, along with the PR work that we do to drive those rankings. Once they're on the site, we're looking at bounce rate, we're looking at conversion rate to some sort of submission. So it could be webinar, ebook, trial, contact form. We track all those separately. And generally speaking, we target all of our numbers working backwards from how many conversions we're looking at targeting a month.
Okay.
So those then go to how many trials we need for that many conversions based on historical trends. And then that goes into how many top of funnel leads we need. And then that goes into what does our spend look like, et cetera.
Makes total sense. Is there any challenges that you would have, because you spoke about conversion rate? Anything that you learned on how to overcome maybe, or how to increase conversion rate on your page? Maybe some war stories or some insights that you found on how to improve the conversions on the site?
Yeah, I don't know if I have any real amazing insights on this one. I think that it's a lot of fine tuning and A/B testing, copy, imagery, where you put the button, what size the button is. We find that obviously adding social proof content like around logos is helping. So people feel like they're in good company when they're with us. A video giving them a small tour or like a high level video of what they can do has been helpful. The thing we want to do is we want them to feel like there's really nothing standing in the way of them getting in the product. And so we're trying to reduce, there's still a little bit of friction because we have to jump from the marketing site to the product site to have them sign up for the trial. I'd love to see those two be more merged so that sign up form's right there on the home page, right there on the free trial page. Right now, that's not there. You still have another click.
Yep.
So there's still a little bit of friction we'd like to remove.
Very, very interesting. Cool. Yeah. Thanks a lot for sharing sort of a little bit of insights around how you're thinking about growth and the different channels. I would be sort of like to switch gears a little bit and learn a little bit about you as a co-founder, and you've been, building up companies before that. Maybe the first question that I would have, when you started off Boardable, what was your approach to get the first 10 customers?
Well, the first 10 were definitely friends and family. I mean, it was folks we knew in town. My previous business, SmallBox, works. My wife runs that company now. Works with a lot of nonprofits. So we had a good network between the founders to just kind of say, "Hey, are you interested?" We made the initial offering price pretty low because the main thing we need is users at that point, validating the product market fit. That first 10 customers, friends and family, it was really exciting when we got beyond that. We started having people sign up that we didn't know. That was exciting. When you start to see someone converting, you're like, we don't know who these people are. They're in California, and they just found us through, our marketing efforts. And then the first international customers were really exciting. We're now in 25 countries, but that first time that we saw folks coming from outside the U.S. signing up in different languages, even though we're not localized on a language level, that was really exciting to see that happen.
Very cool. Do you remember what was the major sort of shifts that you did when you started to grow beyond that first 10? What was the first type of approach that you would be using, or first successful approach that you would be using to reaching out to clients?
Yeah, I mean, it was really the Capterra listing that we were paying for, and once we started spending some money on that and driving that to a landing page, very simple stuff at the beginning. We were really at the time, I think we were one of maybe 2 or 3 companies in our category that had a self-service offering. So that you could come in and you could actually be working in Boardable within a few minutes. All the rest of our competition mostly still has a process to go through where you have to fill out forms, and then they contact you, and then they might have a free trial, but you still have to jump through some hoops. Yep. So by reducing that level of friction, we immediately saw an influx of trials through Capterra, and that was sort of the big aha of just how big this market was, because we saw that we were getting inquiries from around the world, and that was pretty exciting.
Very, very cool. I'm curious, you as a founder, how do you educate yourself, or as a CEO as well? How do you try to be sort of a better leader today than you were yesterday? What is sort of your go-to resources on how to scale up?
Man, there's a lot of dimensions to that answer, right? So you've got the human side of it, where you need to be constantly leveling up your ability to lead and mentor and coach and hold people accountable, provide vision, communicate with external stakeholders. do the self-care you need to have the capacity to lead at the speed the company needs to go, the discernment to delegate and release things from your hands that other people need to take over. So there's a lot of things on that, and that could be a whole conversation. A lot of that comes down to a combination of really great mentors and peers in my life that I'm constantly talking to, connecting with, and receiving their wisdom and sharing my experience and getting their input. A great board of directors that is very involved in the business. I talk to the chair, Andy, our co-founder, about every other day. The great board advisory board, which I highly recommend every company put together. We believe every business should have a board. Of course, we run board software, but I really do believe that. I believe every business should have at least a board of advisors. So there's that level to it. And then when it comes to the industry, we just went to a conference that OpenView had in San Francisco last week called Product-Led Growth Summit, and it was fascinating. Folks from Calendly and Dropbox really sharing their playbook, what they've seen work, and it was both affirmational and challenging. So just going deeper into the mindset and the specific tools and the kind of people you need to hire to build a product-led business. That's kind of a new thing, based upon, like it used to be more sales-led in most companies in the past. So product-led is a new thing, not entirely, but, newish thing. So we're still kind of like learning what that is as a sector, in terms of product companies. But that was really exciting to me to be able to hang out with those kinds of people and learn from them. And so that's always going on. So there's obviously blogs I read, there's books I read, and then just a little shout out to a daily meditation practice. To my friend puts it as closing the tabs on your mental browser, so that you can go into the next day with a clear mind.
Very, very nice. Cool. Maybe the last question that I would have is, if you could sort of zoom back into the day when you started Boardable or the team started to get running on Boardable, what would be one advice that you would give yourself to that day?
Yeah, what would I say? I mean, there's so much small stuff. I'm trying to think of the big thing that I would say to myself. Yeah, I mean, take it day by day. I mean, it sounds so simple, but it's so easy to sort of like have those little light panic attacks when you think about the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And now that we're getting to more where I thought we would be, 2-3 years ago. Of course, we got there a little slower than I thought. I thought, we'll do this in a year. But, being patient with myself, being patient with the speed of the business, being product-led, it's like building a snowball that starts to gather as you go down the hill, and being able to just sort of say, hey, you know what, you don't know how to do this thing that's coming down the road. This thing a year from now that's going to happen, having to raise, millions of dollars. You don't know how to do that right now, but you're going to figure it out. Don't freak out. Just take it day by day, have a beginner's mindset. And I did that for the most part, but there was definitely times where I felt overwhelmed by the scope of what was in front of us. And I wish I could have gone back and said, don't worry, it's going to be fine.
Very, very cool, Jeb. I really like it. I think there's a lot of very good, very healthy things coming into place. The meditation, taking it day by day. So I think I really, really like that approach. So Jeb, thanks a lot for being part of the show today and sharing about Boardable, sharing how you're thinking about growing Boardable and the different channels that are into play, and also how you grew as a business owner and co-founder. So
Thank you, Lucas. Yeah, enjoyed talking. Appreciate it.